So remember that the monologue is an important part of conversation so that we need to be able to feel comfortable speaking with ourselves. And so the best way is to take a mirror and practice in front of a mirror and get your language buddy. Make sure your language buddy is able to listen to your monologue so that he can correct any problems with your language. Now that we've covered the basics of monologue, we want to increase our ability to have a more natural conversation. We want to be able to start a dialogue with other people. Starting a dialogue is as easy as talking about the safest topic in the world, the weather. You can talk about the weather. Everyone in the entire world can agree that the weather is a polite and safe way to break the ice and start a conversation. An example could be, nice weather we're having. Say it again, nice weather we're having. Right? Not too warm, not too cold. The other person may agree or might not say anything. Either way, you should apologize and introduce yourself. Take the advantage of the opportunity after you mention the weather to introduce yourself. I would say, I'm sorry, my name is Osvaldo. Why am I apologizing? Because I just spoke to the person without knowing them, without knowing their name, and I didn't introduce myself. So I take advantage of the opportunity, I apologize, and introduce myself. I'm sorry, my name is Osvaldo. What's your name? Ask for the person's name. This invites the person to offer their name. The other person may feel more comfortable sharing their own name once you ask them their name, and after you've given them your name. It's always interesting to talk about a person's favorite person, and that is ourselves, right? We are our own favorite person. You could consider saying, pleased to meet you, and so on. I'm new in this school. Are you new too? Pay attention to people's names. Be curious and genuine with your interest in what other people are saying and ask questions. We can use our mind places, not only to remember details about what we want to say, but we can use mind places to remember details about other people as well. Mind places can make both speaking and listening much easier. Remember, we want to make listening easier and we want to make speaking easier. So we want to use mind places. To create a mind place, we imagine entering a house, just like my house. Entering a house and envisioning things that we see as we enter each room. The items that we have in each room will prompt us to remember what it is that we want to talk about. If you find it difficult to envisioning, let's say, a room, envisioning going into rooms, you can use your own body from top to bottom by imagining the head is like the living room, or the place that represents basic things like one's name and tidbits about oneself. Right? The arms and hands. The hands are like the study. When we enter the study, what is a study? The study is where we bring work from home, especially teachers. We bring work home from the office. The study can represent what a person does for a living. Imagine the person you're talking to is in that room wearing surgical gloves if they're a doctor or a surgeon, or an apple in one hand and a chalk in the other if they're a teacher. We could imagine a plumber. Imagine a plumber holding a pipe and a monkey wrench. Pipe in one hand, monkey wrench in the other, that's a plumber. And he is in your study. You're having a conversation in your study. Next we move on to the den. Let's imagine moving on to the den. Now we want to talk about what we do in the den or what we do for fun. The den is where the TV, the stereo, a pool table, some people have pool tables, or a Sony PlayStation are there along with other fun things. The chest in the body is also where the heart is and where fun things happen. So when we are talking to someone that loves gardening, imagine someone that loves gardening with a flower in their pocket close to their chest, and they are in your den. So this way, we remember the person wearing a flower in their pocket because they love gardening, and they are in our den, and in the den, we remember what it is that we want to talk about. We want to talk about the things that we do. If they like music, we can imagine their heart beating to the sound of their favorite music. Isn't that fun? That's a fun way to imagine it. We can either use rooms or we can use our own body. If we move on to the dining room and we want to remember about the food that we like to talk about, the food that we like to eat, imagine our guests with their stomachs filled with their favorite food. John likes hot dogs while Mary loves pizza. Let's invite our guests into the gym to burn off all those calories and imagine that they're wearing the uniforms of their favorite sport. Their legs represent movement and activity, so if the person likes to jog, we could imagine them wearing running shoes, cleats if they like baseball, gym shorts and sneakers if they like basketball, or Argyle socks if they love to play golf. I know I have a pair. The next time we meet this person, we increase our chances at remembering the other person's favorite things. And we also remember what we want to talk about and what we want to ask the other person so that the dialogue, conversation can move on. This prepares us to have a spontaneous conversation. Let's try speaking about yourself and what you like to do, but before that, I want to demonstrate. And let's start with the living room, the very first room with some basic facts. Let's say I want to speak with somebody. I already mentioned the mother, and I tell them, hello, my name is Osvaldo. What are your names? And they tell me their names. Their names is John and Mary, and I tell them, pleased to meet you, John and Mary. The next room is the study, or the den, where I bring work home, right, from the office or from the school. Here I will mention that I am a designer. And so I tell them, I am a new student here at this school, and I study part-time as a designer, and I also teach graphic design. Are you new at this school as well? And so give the person enough time for them to answer and encourage the other person to feel free to speak by showing interest in what they say. Say something like, is that so? Oh, how interesting. What school did you come from? Tell me more about your previous school. Continue asking for more information about the person's school, what they're talking about. So now we move on to the heart and the stomach, where things we enjoy and food we like to eat. So we'll move on to the dining room. We continue to break the ice, and so we tell them, I like to have some coffee, and are there any great places to eat here? I have not seen a Thai restaurant for years, and I love Thai food. Again, be curious and ask their opinion about music, food, the things that they really like. Listen to words and phrases being used that could be helpful in your language learning and development. Finally, we move on to the last room, or the legs on the body of the person. The last room. Let's imagine that the last room is a gym. Imagine the gym filled with sports machines and sporting equipment, and the other person is a guest in your gym. And so that you can remember what they like, imagine that they are wearing the clothing that is appropriate for their favorite sport. Tell them, I really enjoy playing tennis. Do you play any sport for fun? And listen closely to their favorite sport. There are many ways that we can develop mind spaces, and we don't have to limit ourselves to using rooms in a building. We can use our bodies, we can use streets, we can use anything else that you feel most comfortable with. An avid golfer could imagine a golf course, and the things that we need to remember are placed at each hole. So mind places is a very important tool and a very useful tool that we can use in order to communicate with other people. And this way we can remember details about other people that we want to remember for the future, and we can also keep in mind and remember the things that we want to talk about.